Hello viewers, today I'm going to talk about using the Blue Accumulator Mentor. This is the GPT that I created to be able to help me with anything Steele related questions. So as you remember, Steele is the genius in the wealth dynamics that talks about how someone that's really detail oriented, someone that loves spreadsheets, instructions, and wants to know how things work. So I'll just kind of show you real quick what I'm going to be using this GPT for today. So what I want to say is tell me about the Steele genius in wealth dynamics and why is it important for someone to know that genius. So this is right here, Steele genius, Roger James Hamilton, wealth dynamics, genius of precision, systems, and timing. So great at managing details, optimizing the process, analyzing data, and preserving wealth through efficient accuracy. So logic and process. So these are some of the essence of the Steele genius: accuracy, detail, structure, and systems thinking. However, the shadow side, if overanalyzing, difficulty, initiating, or improvising, and is what is the data telling me? And some of these things that I wanted to cover real quick here are essentially these are natural talents. So if you find yourself loving numbers, want to know how things work, details, keeping track of everything, including finances, or just find yourself reading instruction manuals or watching videos on YouTube of how things work, this is a little bit about your natural genius. So it's about stability, structure, and sustainability. And here are some things about why your genius matters. So it's being able to, when you're focused on the back end, like behind the scenes, that's where you naturally thrive. And they're supposed to, here's what something is really important. You're not meant to create demand. You're supposed to fulfill the promise once the demand is created. And this is really big because I've done sales before, and in fact, I spent most of my careers in my 20s in sales, and it never really felt natural to me talking to people all day, calling people, meeting people, but I always felt like whatever I'm presenting and selling, I had to first and foremost believe in myself that it actually can be delivered. And what this is I wanted to share with you. It's called the supply side of wealth creation. So what that means is no matter how many sales can be made by a blaze genius, which is like the opposite side, like a people genius, who loves connecting with people, talking to people, and being able to be with people all day long. However, their challenge is that they could have all the charisma and the charm to close the sale, get the money, but what happens after the money? What happens after the money is, somebody has to fulfill it, right? Because a promise that's promised when someone pays, and that isn't fulfilled and delivered, ultimately leads to long-term consequences. And that's kind of where the Steele genius comes in, is being able to make sure how's it done on time. So also great visionaries need great integrators. And there's just some things in here as well that talks about, like, things that could be great work. So finance, operations, technology, legal, compliance, and precise work. So when you don't know your student, you might be like, fast talking marketers and feel less. It's like, why could that person just, charm somebody and be able to make money super easily? Versus realizing that's not your natural profile. That's not how your natural genius works. Is being able to build systems that work because it's not sexy. So it's kind of like overlooked a lot of times. But learning about this genius, and more importantly, knowing how to partner up with somebody that has the opposite genius, is where your true magic is going to shine. So my profile is a accumulator, but there's also three other types of Steel Genius is total. I'm one of the accumulator. There's also the Lord and the accumulator. So let's talk about this. If what would you share to somebody if they are a steel lord or steel mechanic? And I'm going to talk about the other two profiles, the steel lord and the steel mechanic. So, but the natural needs of details, data, and discipline timing. So the mechanic profile is dynamo, which is the creative profile of like what, and steel, which is the how. So great at building better machines, and you make things better, leaner, and more efficient. Loves to improve existing systems and processes. Also, natural tech, engineering, automation, detail focus, but visionary when it comes to. So some examples of uh, the accumulators. Jeff Bezos is one of them. So this is probably the most famous mechanic right now, Jeff Bezos, because he essentially turned the system of Amazon into the most efficient delivery e-commerce business out there. And some other things right here include, perfection, isolation, analysis paralysis, like tweaking until it's perfect, building backend system runs without you, behind the spotlight. So this describes Jeff perfectly because he's not in the spotlight. Well, maybe not now, but used to be when he was building Amazon. He wasn't out there promoting Amazon, and also at the same time, he was the guy behind the scene that built everything. So the Steel Lord is the other one, which is someone that's just with steel and tempo. Tempo is the one that's really good at timing, knowing when and where to get things done. So protect resource by managing asset operations or capital, reliable spreadsheets, scheduling detail. So a really big Steel Lord. Arnold, it could be one, but as this is ChatGPT, some of these could be inaccurate. But if you look at the Roger James Hamilton, really famous Lord he talked about in the book are, for example, Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, who built Standard Oil, and also Andrew Carnegie, who built Carnegie's Steel. Those were all lords. And so flow comes from accumulating, never wasting, manage risk, play longer, but slowly. So overcautious invisibility, you support but really promote yourself, and fear of delegation because you want to be in control of everything. So you both must know you're not meant to be first, meant to be lasting. You may not start the fire, but you build a fireplace that keeps it burning for years. You finish what other bees began, and without you, the entire structure collapses. So through trust, rack, and timing, you have a high but consistent result, document, proof framework, so your value is compounded. And this is what's really important. You need to find the right partnership because essentially you want somebody to be able to complement you. So a Blaze genius, someone that's like a star and supporter, they create demand, you fulfill it. Meaning that, think of it almost as if, think of like seasons. Like for example, the Dynamo Genius, they're the ones that plant the seeds. The Blaze Genius are the ones that essentially makes all the crops grow. The Tempo Genius is someone that is able to harvest the seeds, and the Steel Genius, which is you, is someone that's there to make sure all the seeds are accounted for and they last till the next season. So just because someone like a dynamo plants a seed, it doesn't mean that it actually gets harvested and turns into food at the end. So many struggle with feeling seen isn't enough compared to quiet charisma, and this is definitely was me for the longest time. It was like, why can't I be like someone on social media that could get all the followers, all the brand, and just attract attention? But you also understand is that the value that you truly bring is the foundation that others stand on. What you honor your role, others will too. So if you think about it, I'll just give you an example here. Think about what I mentioned earlier, John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie. Both of their companies that they built still have they're still in existence right now. For example, U.S. Steel, it's still in existence right now, over 100 years later. Standard Oil, the descendants include like Chevron and ExxonMobil. They're still around over 100 years because of how they were able to build the efficiencies and ultimately last over 100 years. So this just wanted to share this with you because this I feel like is super important for a steel genius to understand, and more importantly, being able to acknowledge that your strength of details, organization, and being able to be the person that is building trust through the track record and timing, that is a gift. And there's people out there, especially Blaze geniuses, that they wish that what after they get the customer, get the spotlight, someone needs to finish that for what they promise their customers. And so that's why I wanted to share this with you today, just kind of share why I believe the Steel Genius is truly valuable in a way that a lot of times we might not understand it ourselves. Like all I know is how to read a manual. All I know is how to get things done on time and done right. All I know is fill in the blank of how you thought about yourself, which you felt like was just everybody could do it. Well, it turns out not everybody can. So if you like this, comment, subscribe, like, and let me know what you think. And I'd love to share more of these insights with you of things on the Steel Genius.